right. Welcome, everyone. So this is our first episode ever, an introduction episode to introduce you to both us, this podcast, and also what we're hoping to accomplish here. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm Caitlin Ruiz, and I've got Dr. Robin Desmore with me. And this is our new GovCon After Hours podcast. So we are hoping that you will come with us on a journey over the next however long it lasts to both make some sense out of some bullshit and some chaos in GovCon, but also have candid conversation, have some fun times, and best of all, because it's after hours, have a drink. So, Dr. Desmore, what do you have over there? Because this is, my personal favorite is Tito's, well, any kind of vodka, but Tito's specifically because it's dog friendly, and cranberry. But you are drinking what?
Oh, I'm drinking my old fashioned. Blanton's and a whole lot of nice, dark, dirty cherries.
Perfect. So in terms of what we're doing here, why anyone cares, and why they should come with us, I guess it should start with who the hell we are and whether or not they want to be friends, right? Come join the party. Who are these ladies? Yeah. So you and I worked together in a corporate kind of full-time W-2 capacity. I think we discovered it was almost at least 4 years ago.
Yep.
Now in 2024. And so that was where our relationship started.
Like 20 years in GovCon.
It's like wartime timing, right? If we go into combat, it's like you did 7 years and you did one. But that's where our relationship started. And obviously it's blossomed and grown over time. I personally, so my business is human design consulting. And what we do is GovCon recruiting specifically. Essentially, it's fractional recruiting on demand for GovCons, usually in the cleared space, because that's just typically where we play. And then Dr. Desmore, your specialty is?
Oh, I have a lot of specialties. I would say from my standpoint, obviously, I've been in GovCon for so long. Contracts and compliance is definitely my sweet spot. Been doing it for so long for, I don't even count the numbers. There's entirely too many decades in between. But the beginning and the end of whatever every aspect looks like for GovCon.
Yep. Cradle to grave, right? Full life cycle,
full life cycle, whatever that life cycle looks like. I think it continually keeps changing, but at the same time, it doesn't. We're traditionalists, so.
Yep. And the way that our two functionalities fit together, both in a corporate perspective and also in a consulting perspective, beautifully, right? Hand in hand, in terms of both contract understanding, negotiating, JVs, teams, all the things, all the way through the execution side. Who are your people? Who are your key personnel? And then who do we staff internally for our own companies? So we both have our own individual service providing companies, and then collectively we come together and do work together, but also in service to clients. So we share some clients together as well. And I think just over the years, we've had a ton of candid conversation amongst ourselves, right? And I know last year in 2023, we were thinking, hey, it would be cooler if it was a broader conversation, right? If we had more truth tellers, if more people come join our tribe.
And we also learned that after hours, the more we drank, the more the candid conversation came. And sometimes the candid conversation did include other people, but it was for us, it wound up being this. It's almost a sanctuary of conversation because it does reduce some of the levels of chaos, right? But also at the same time create a little its own. Like, did you even think about this? And what about this? And and there we go down the pipeline of chaos. So
yeah, knowledge share, storytelling, right? How did you do this? Best practices, everything, right? So outside of who we are and kind of how we got here, so we have our own companies, but we used to work together. We then went out on our own. Now we're back together, both in servicing other clients and then tangentially with each other, helping one another move forward. But why the hell this podcast? Why are we doing this? Why GovCon After Hours? And what's the goal?
From my standpoint, so I know we talked about this. This is what our vision is. Reason is GovCon After Hours is because, we're all politically correct in many aspects of what we can do and what we can't do under certain umbrellas. I think what we learned over the years is that when we're after hours, we take off that whatever, I'm not going to call it facade, but I'm going to call it that layer of proprietary, whatever it may be. And really open up about who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we see, how we see it. And realize that there's a lot of people who have very similar things. There's also people who have different perspectives, but that's part of the great conversation, right? our networks can be limited, but they can be really vast at the same time, right? So, which is part of what we have. Our networks are very different because of the areas of expertise that we both have. But I think that's the part that really made it really interesting. I'm like, oh, well, they had it over there. How is that possible? Like, how is that going on? So I think from my vision, it's about bringing those things into the light, regardless of what that light looks like, and that voice, right? Those voices of conversation, those things that we think may be happening in a funnel or silo or whatever it is, but really truly having a bigger conversation about it.
Yeah, absolutely true. I think from my perspective, I completely agree. So kind of shedding that veil, that professional, that stuffy 4 or 5 p.m. Kind of just what we all have to do, especially in GovCon, right? Especially in GovCon. That is true. So yes, the after 5 p.m. is hopefully, again, the aim being the candor, kind of the disarmament of people and just the truthful conversation. And then I do think the other part is, yeah, unless you have like a me and a Robin in your life or you've built a community as such, it can feel very isolating. GovCon as a whole can feel isolating. Entrepreneurship, starting a new business, you name it, depending on where you are in your version of life, it can be absolutely isolating. So I think, yeah, we're hopefully widening our net, recruiting for our tribe. If you're out there and you do what we do, GovCon, and you got some more stories, we're here for it. Storytelling, collaboration, all that is definitely what I think we're hoping to accomplish with this one.
Oh, we have great war stories.
Yep.
But what do we expect? What do we want to give? Because this is also, there's a lot of podcasts out there. What do we expect to give to you?
Yep.
I think that's a two-way street at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about Caitlin and I having this big conversation about random things. I think we plan on bringing on lots of people who are out there listening and also listening to them, but also bringing in people who are like, truly, randomly, what's going on in the industry? What are you guys worried about? What are you worried about? Because what you may be worried about, you don't even know what is going on in there, which is, I think, a great thing to talk about. Talk about those things that only certain people are talking about, that everybody should be talking about, or maybe eventually we'll be talking about, but get ahead of that. Just get ahead of that and open up the conversation. But what else?
So trends, disruptive, right? Anything disruptive, anything that's interesting that isn't talked about or that is slightly, but not really. We're into that. Disruption, truth telling, highlighting the things, again, kind of opening the kimono back of, behind the scenes, behind the stage is like, how do things actually work? And having the honest, raw, direct conversations with those kinds of pointed questions with people that we know, trust, respect, or even if we don't personally know them, we know they're in the industry, they have a reputation, right? They've been around for years and years and years. So some form of vetted resources for you in the community. Right. So we're hoping to really, I think in terms of what to expect monthly, right? I think we're going for monthly guests.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we get good stuff, we'll be bringing on more often. Monthly at this particular point.
Yep. Our first guest is actually already on the books. And hopefully most of you know her, Teresa Moon from Parabolis. So we're talking about small business, GovCon funding, access to resources, all of that good stuff. Outside of that, I think we're also looking to talk about, in general terms, disruptive tech. So like AI, I think is another topic we're looking at. What else we got? Compliance.
Listen, I think that the topic of conversation is going to be helpful regardless. I don't think that there's one area within GovCon other than it is government contracting, period. GovCon is its own unique industry, but it's not so unique that there's not a lot of people who want to know more, even learn who other people are. I mean, we may have people on here that we know, that we trust in our industry, but also you may not know, but you probably need to know, or need to know the information that they want to provide and ways to go about it. I think part of it is exploratory. Part of it is knowledge sharing, obviously. Part of it is just, I want to get a laugh and I want to get some kind of joy out of, we've been doing this for so long. Like, how can there not be good antidotes and good information and good resources that we can all come back from? I think that for me is a huge piece of why I want to do this and what I want to share to everybody.
That's actually probably the best point out of all of this. What do we want to do? We want to find other people like us. We can't be alone. We can't be alone. GovCon sucks. There have to be other cool people in it, right? Like, if you're out there and you're like, hey, these people are my people. We are your people. We have been looking for you. The flyer is out. Let us know. Come join us. Come tell us what you want to hear about, what's important to you, what kind of topics you want us to talk about, if you want to be on here, or if you want to meet us at one of the industry events. I think I know there's a ton of stuff in May. Is there anything before May? We just did the 8A conference in GovCon as a whole. But come find us at events. Like, we're here for it. We're wide open. This is community-based. I think, truthfully, it's how do we have fun with it? How do we widen the conversation with people that we think are cool and fun? And how do we just have a good, authentic version of life in GovCon?
While we're
This is our first solution. We're hoping you might have another one.
Look forward to it. Thanks.
So come join us. Find us on, where are we at? Where's all of our podcasting happening? We got
YouTube. We've got Spotify. I think there's a couple of them. Did you guys know that the Google podcast is going away? So apparently that's out. So who cares? But we're going to move on from there. There's, I think, a lot of growth opportunity of just different areas in different ways. But I think the most important is we will find you one day.
And hopefully you find us. So cheers to GovCon After Hours. And we can't wait to have you along with us on this journey.
Look forward to it. Thank you.